What's up, everybody? Welcome to 3D Rivals, your first line of defense against stupid movies. My name is DJ, and as always, I'm joined by my two siblings, my sister, Danette, and my brother,
Derek. What's up?
All right, so this week, we decided to actually talk about a comic. Woo. For the first time ever, I think 40 episodes in. But we decided since the CW is going to be doing a crossover this year about Crisis on Infinite Earths, we decided to actually read that comic, which was, 1985? Yes. 1986? Something like that?
Yes.
Yeah. So this comic's older than me.
Yes.
Yeah. That's nice. So we all decided to take a look at it, and we're just going to give our thoughts on the comic series. It was 359 pages long.
Yes, or as my phone says, 3,700 slides.
Oh.
I made it to 1,100.
Oh, wow, you barely got through it. So I don't think any of us actually finished. I got through most of it, honestly. I'm at the very end of the series. Like, I had 30 pages left. So I've read most of it. And just as a general, based on what you guys read, you barely read a third.
Well, today was the only day I could read it.
Oh,
today was the only day I had time, so I spent most of the day trying to get through it all.
Yeah, or you said it was 2,200 slides?
3,700 slides.
Oh, yeah, you didn't even get through a third. Good. Okay.
Look, I got the gist of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, based on the third that you read, what did you think of the story?
Yeah. No. I thought it took way too long to get to the point to explain. Like, I don't know, like the first 3 issues or whatever, I felt like we could have done it without.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page. Derek, what did you think before I give mine?
I only got to like the middle. Maybe it's the middle. Yeah, I felt that it took too long to explain the reasoning, and I don't know, maybe because how the story was written for it to be in like 1980, you know, if that's like the pace that they had it in back then. But
the pace was so slow.
The first few issues, like, I felt that it took forever to explain, because like, as I was reading it, I'm thinking like, oh, okay, now we getting into it. And then it's just like, nope, we're going to explain it. And then it's just like, how many times can you explain this? And it could have been explained just once.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of explanation without actually explaining things.
And they explained things multiple times, too.
Yeah, like, I felt like when they all got to the point where they were protecting the Forky things.
Yeah.
But I felt like I was confused about, like, what are they doing there? I'm like, did they really?
They didn't know what they were doing there.
I was like, did you not explain?
No, and it got explained later on, but, like...
Yeah, it took a while for me to be like, oh, okay, they're supposed to protect it because these things are going to combine.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to get into before we start complaining about the story. I will go through basically what the story is. Okay. First, I'll give my thoughts, my general thoughts. I'm along the same lines as you guys. It was very slow paced. The first half, Danette, I know you didn't get through half of it, but the first half of the entire series, I think, could have been condensed. It went on for way too long, uninteresting, and like the most boring comic I've ever read. And I've read old comics too. It's not like the first old comic that I've read.
Right.
This just wasn't good. It got better, but still by the end of it, I was just like, no. I thought it was, because it got interesting when they started to explain things, but then once we got to after that, it was still kind of like not that great. But let's explain the story, and then we can complain about different parts of it. So basically, there are infinite Earths, or multiverse, as every comic series has, because so multiple Earths and whatever. Some people have already interacted from people from other Earths, because you got the Flash and stuff, and he could travel through different universes. And apparently, at the dawn of time, or 10 billion years after the dawn of time, the people, the Owens, the people who started the Green Lantern Corps, you know, they were all peaceful on the planet, and one of the scientists decided to see how the universe started, and he like physically looked back or something like that. I don't know. He created some technology and he looked back, but that caused, he looked back to the beginning of time, and that caused the universe to split into the multiverse, and also created the antimatter universe. And because of that, when all of that happened, it created the Monitor and the Anti-Monitor. It doesn't say how.
Really?
Yeah,
You wanted
but-
a howl after all of that?
But yeah, they were just created.
Yeah.
And the basic gist is the Anti-Monitor wants to destroy all the other universes, so the Anti-Universe is the only thing left. And that's the gist of it.
Yes, so he's going about destroying all the things. The Monitor used Hairbanger. Is that how you pronounce her name?
No, a Harbinger.
Harbinger? No, excuse
Yeah.
me.
Like the
Obviously.
Harbinger. Okay.
I don't know what a Harbinger is. Sorry.
Hairbanger.
Oh, wow.
I was like, what's a Hairbanger? The Harbinger.
I mean, some of these heroes had some really stupid names, but
Yeah.
no, that's just a word.
Don't know that
Same
word.
with Psycho
Oh,
pirate.
a
Psycho
psycho pirate.
Man.
Yeah.
That character was dumb. I'll get to that.
He was super annoying, and apparently even the Anti-Monitor was annoyed with him, and I
Yeah.
was just like,
Yeah.
just
Yep.
use him for something and like shut this dude up already.
Yeah, he was there for exposition. I
That
hate
was-
when
Yes.
movies do that, and I
Yeah.
hated it in this comic.
Yeah, because he was like, "Oh, you did this. When is it my turn?"
Yeah.
There was like
Yep.
every other page. Like, okay,
So
Yep.
yeah. So the story starts like you don't. I explain that, but you don't get that until halfway through
Yeah.
the series.
no,
The story starts with worlds being destroyed, and it explains that it's being destroyed by antimatter, but not why. And the Monitor's trying to stop whoever's doing it.
yeah,
I guess that it was a counterpart, but that's only because I knew about the Flash dying fighting the Anti-Monitor. So I was like, because I had that knowledge, I knew the bad guy was the Anti-Monitor. So since this Monitor was the good guy, I was
I
like,
didn't
oh,
figure that out until I read it on Wikipedia.
yeah. Well, I
was
already
the
had
same
that
with
knowledge, so
Darren. It's because, yeah, I was the same way. Since I had the knowledge of it, I knew that coming in already, so I wasn't surprised about that. Like when they revealed it. So
That and I didn't know who 99% of the people were.
that's another thing.
Yeah,
The heroes, I didn't know
either.
who they were, and they didn't get to until about halfway. Like they popped up here and there, but they didn't get to the people that you're used to seeing until
Yeah,
about
it took
halfway
a long
through.
time for the normal Superman to show up.
Yeah,
And it was just so weird. And then I felt like she like picking these people like, you can help save us. But I'm like, this guy doesn't seem powerful at all. Like, why is he important?
yeah, and they didn't explain why they needed them.
No, never.
They
Only
never
that
did explain.
the villains
Nope.
and the heroes are going to work together.
Yeah, and like okay, so at the beginning while we're watching the worlds being destroyed, her name is Lila,
Yeah.
and she is Lila slash Harbinger, and she is sent out to gather heroes, and the Monitor says he's giving them for a specific purpose, but that purpose is never explained ever. Because I'm at the end of the comic, so it's never explained.
I think it's just to team them up to protect the forks.
Yeah, but he was saying he needed specific people for specific reasons.
That never was made very clear.
Yeah.
yeah, it was.
And then the little shadow things coming out of the forks
least
didn't
as
really make
far as
sense
I
to
read.
me. Because they kept running away.
Yeah, that got explained in the
Oh, did it?
halfway point too.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so bringing up a bunch of stuff that doesn't make sense and explaining it later is not good because I'm confused for the first half of your entire comic
Right.
series.
Yeah, I don't.
I could imagine if I was getting this book by book as it was coming out.
Yeah. Like, if I gotta wait that long to understand what's happening.
Yeah.
Like, and then I just felt like, like, where you see, like, okay, this comic book ended. if I was a comic book reader, nothing about it would make me want to get the next issue.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely. I'd be like, what?
yeah, like I'd be like, okay, I'm done with this.
So, yeah, like, the thing about it is they kept showing different worlds being destroyed and going into, like, detail with it.
Yeah.
I was like, you could have done this on one comic panel and said this was Earth 3, this was Earth 4, or whatever.
Yep.
It was so much detail. So many people saying, "Great Scott, what is that?"
Yes, Great Scott. And that was Superman. That was the
Like-
old Superman saying Great
like-
Scott.
Because that was the action comic Superman.
Oh, okay. That was the one our parents grew up with.
They whatever. They
Yes.
all talk
Who
weird
could do
to me.
anything, basically.
No, but somebody talking about
Basically.
how afraid he is.
Yeah.
What? Get your life. Like, ain't you Superman?
That's the Superman that the bullets bounce off from him, and then you throw the gun and he ducks.
Isn't that the Superman that made tiny versions of himself out of his hand?
What?
Yeah.
There's a Super. I think that's that
Yep.
Superman.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the same Superman that teamed up with Bugs Bunny for whatever reason. Explain that one, DC.
Warner Brothers. They own DC.
Okay. And
That's
none of
what-
that knowledge I
happened.
needed.
So.
Yes, you did. We had to
I
share
didn't,
that
but
with
it
you.
was
That
just it
knowledge
was
that
so
we
much
had.
of that, and then you get into the story, and then they go back to another world being destroyed.
Yeah. So they could
Yeah.
have done this in one comic.
Definitely.
You know, I mean, you started with the Earth X Crime Syndicate. Like, I kind of knew who they were, even though they look
Yes.
different. We seen them
when
in
they
movies.
talked about them, I knew who
Okay.
they were. Yeah.
Yeah, they're the opposite, where the heroes are the villains.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
They
Yeah.
did look
Because
different.
that's
I know what you're
when
talking about.
Lex Luthor was with Lois Lane, and Lex Luthor was the hero on that world.
Yeah, and he sent his son. So that's the Luthor. That's the savior or
Why
whatever.
that kid have red hair? He was very goofy looking.
Lex Luthor always had
Lex
red
Luthor has red hair.
Does he?
Uh huh.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
The one in the Death of Superman comic, he has red hair,
Mm-hmm.
long red
Yep.
hair. You're used to the bald Lex Luthor,
Yes.
Yeah. That's because he loses his hair. So
and he blames
He-
Superman. If you ever read the comic when he
blames him
loses
for
his
everything.
hair, he blames Superman for it. It was his fault.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So yeah, his hair is red, but he loses his hair and becomes bald.
Okay.
and then that
So
just
that's-
became iconic.
All right. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
So yeah, like that whole beginning, like, oh god, 180 pages of this, of Earth after Earth being destroyed, people screaming, the heroes not knowing what's going on, but they're all saying, oh my god, it's the end of the world. Like, I'm like, okay, all right, I got it, it's the end of the world. All right, are we gonna get to the solution? No, we're just gonna see the end of another world.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm intrigued on like how that would have played out or looked in a graphic novel. I mean, not a graphic novel, but like in a written novel, because there is like a paper copy. Written
Yeah, I
novel.
couldn't find a written one. I was hoping for an audiobook, but
Yeah,
it
I
probably
looked for
doesn't
one, too.
exist.
There's probably not
So
a
I'm like,
novelization
because
of
I'm
this.
like, I'm
It would be
wondering like
difficult.
how did the author write that? Because I'm just like, yeah,
There
reading this
isn't
like in
one.
a comic book form, I'm like, this is
No, it isn't one. It jumped around, especially in the beginning. It jumped around
so
way
much.
too much. Every
Like-
page was a different place.
Yeah, a different place, and then they start going back in time,
Yeah.
and I was just like, why are we going back in time right now?
Well, I mean, it covered time too. I get it, but like,
It was a lot.
you didn't have to cover this stuff back in time because when the worlds merge, you can just say "and time too," and so
Yeah.
now there's old stuff there. That wouldn't have been. I didn't need a
Well,
prerequisite for
even
that.
they, before the worlds merged, and they went back in time with like Jonah Hex, I think his name is, and there was other people, and there was a Forky thing in there, and I was just like, why are we in? Because they were in the Wild West.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were in the Wild West. They were in prehistoric times.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Yes.
It just, and they didn't explain it. It was just all of a sudden, it's 1492. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. It was real confusing. And especially since the characters in the book didn't get it, then
Yeah.
it made it more confusing. And then you drew it out for so long.
Yes.
So I guess this is past what you guys have read. But once they explain all of this,
I know who saved the day. Thanks, Wikipedia.
Once they explain everything that happened, then it gets a bit more interesting since now I know what's going on. So the Monitor gets killed
Yes.
by
I read that part.
Harbinger.
Yes.
Yes, I got that far. Yes.
But and then he was like, "I knew you were going to do it," and I was
They
just,
never explain that too. Is he
How-
all knowing or all seeing or something?
I don't know because
I
but I
have
felt
no
like they took a
idea.
while to explain what was going on with her because it was like, "I'm working with you, but I'm getting ready to betray you," and I'm like, "What's up with this chick?"
Yeah. Well, she was being controlled by the Anti-Monitor, but
They
they
didn't make
never
that
explained
clear.
how that worked.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I thought I thought maybe there was another form of her
Yeah.
too, but they never explained why. And then after she killed him, it was just done. Like she wasn't controlled anymore.
Right? Like,
So
what?
I'm confused about. I mean, I get it, but I'm confused about how and why.
Well, I'm thinking the why is that maybe the Anti-Monitor thought like, I kill him, then he can't stop me.
Yeah. Well, he set up something to.
Yeah, of course. So that when she does kill him,
Yeah.
he can. What took him so long to turn those little forks on?
He used his energy. So when he died, he used his energy to turn the forks on.
He can use his energy while he was alive.
Apparently not.
Okay.
That wasn't explained.
They explained that that's why it waited till he died.
Right, and then baby Lex is like a teenager now, and he knows all for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's super smart. They don't explain why. Basically, the Lex from Earth 3, well, he's Lex Jr. from Earth 3. He is both
Positive and negative.
positive matter and antimatter, which, by the way, cannot happen.
Really, this is a comic book about antimatter destroying things. Are you worried about him being both positive?
I mean, that's the point. They cancel. Okay. What? They cancel each other out. Like, I mean, this is okay. But like, is that theoretical physics?
Yes,
Okay.
that's the reason
Whatever.
why it's theoretical.
Still. So he's
Good job, D.
apparently he's both.
Yeah,
And so that's where all his power and stuff comes from. I don't know. It doesn't really make sense. But in the end, they beat the Anti-Monitor a few times. So they stop the worlds from merging by destroying his machine. Like, Supergirl comes in like a beast. That was good. Like, I enjoyed the mid part of this series because
And then she dies.
yeah, she dies. They use Lex to open a gate to the antimatter universe, and they go there to fight the Anti-Monitor, and Psycho Pirate is useless, of course. And
but he was
Flash is
supposed to
trapped
be
there.
important.
Yeah, no, he wasn't.
Then they kept saying like, "You're super important." Then he's like, "But I can replace you though."
He could have, I guess.
Like, I'm like, so then he's not important.
Right, then he's not important. Not at all.
So yeah, and then so they're fighting him, and like he's beating up Superman, and so Supergirl just like, cause super hearing, she can hear Superman being beat up, so she like books it over there and like hands this dude another one. It was pretty good. I was like, this is pretty good, and she died. But the Anti-Monitor escaped at that point. But it stopped everything. They destroyed his machine or whatever, and it stopped everything. The worlds were partially merged, but it did stop everything. And at that point, like, the mid part was the only good part. Because after that, Anti-Monitor comes back, and they had to travel back to the beginning of time or whatever and work with the villains. And Batman's there, and it makes no sense for Batman to be there because he didn't do anything. And they mentioned, why are we here, Batman? And he says, we can offer them our courage. And the first time I've ever said in my mind, shut up, Batman.
See, I felt like this story needed more Batman, only because Batman makes all things awesome.
Yeah, but see, in this story, Batman didn't know what to do ever.
No one knew what to do.
Yeah.
They were just all standing around looking really dumb.
Yeah, so it was just so weird. And I guess by the end, Kid Lex saves everybody.
Yes.
Flash dies. Oh, yeah, the second time they beat.
Wasn't he already dead?
No, he had went back in time or something.
So when Batman and Joker is in Wayne Manor, I guess.
Mm-hmm. That was him. That was him dying, but he was dying in the future, and he has sent himself back by accident.
Okay. All right.
Which that's a normal Flash type of thing. You know, he's weird with time travel and stuff. So I'm not too mad at that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So yeah, the Antimatter's second attempt. Flash was there because he was captured, and basically he destroyed the machine, but in the process destroyed himself.
Which Flash is this?
Barry Allen.
Is he still dead?
No, I don't know if this is the story, but I think at that point he became one with the Speed Force or something and became the lightning that struck himself, making him the Flash, which makes it a paradox.
I think that is.
Yeah, I think that's this story. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is. You give me a confused look. It doesn't make sense. I know, which is why it's a paradox.
Okay.
So the Flash made himself the Flash.
This is why I don't read.
You don't read
This is why you don't read comics. Yes, this is why the movies can't get this convoluted.
Right, because everybody will walk out and be like, "Yep."
Yeah, if anything, if this comic book doesn't tell you anything, it's the reason why movie adaptations can't 100% be faithful to the comics, because otherwise it would make zero sense.
Right. I will say this. It does make me interested to see how the Arrowverse is going to handle this.
Yeah, I think they're probably going to do
Only
better
because I just want to see it be better.
Yeah.
And if they can somehow... But I feel like the Arrowverse is going to do exactly what we said they should do. Show the world's getting destroyed in the beginning.
Yep.
And then the rest of it is just how they're fixing the problem without all of this back and forth and confusing this.
It probably not. Yeah, it's probably not going to be all of that.
I am liking though that they're using past actors who have played, like different heroes.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And and pretending to use it like, that's the different Earth. And I'm like, that makes total good sense. And I'm like, that whoever's doing the writing for this, like, should get praise for it, because it's gonna bring in fans, especially like if they're gonna do Tom Welling Superman too.
Brandon Routh is gonna reprise his role as Superman too. And somebody else was there. Oh, they're getting the voice actor for Batman.
Kevin Conroy?
Yeah,
Kevin Conroy. He's gonna play old Bruce Wayne.
I was gonna be like, will there be Batman?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's playing old Bruce Wayne.
I don't know if there's gonna be Batman, but he's gonna be there as Bruce Wayne.
Wait, so he's playing Batman?
Well, technically, yeah. I don't know if he's gonna be Batman in a suit.
So how they gonna have his voice? He gonna be like in a computer?
No, he's gonna be there. I'm saying I don't know if he's gonna suit up as Batman.
Oh no, I meant will Kevin Conroy actually person?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that would be good. That's
Wait
exciting.
a minute. Oh, I forgot. Different times. I'm like, how is he old Bruce Wayne? Because in Arrowsverse, Bruce Wayne is like young, but I forgot. Time travel
it's multiverse and time.
Okay, got it.
So that should be interesting. I mean, it's a good premise to make anything. It probably will make a good movie if done right. It's just that this comic was not good.
It wasn't good.
No.
It received good reviews back in 1980, whatever.
Yeah, maybe there's a difference because, I'm going to talk about some of the writing. Let's talk about some of the writing.
Wow.
Oh, boy. Man, not only was the pace slow, but, like, everyone explains their moves.
Yeah.
Like, you think it's a video game.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to use my telescopic vision to look into the city. Thanks, Superman. I didn't need you to tell me. like, I don't want... What? And then everyone explained their origin every time they showed up on a panel.
Yeah. Like, I was so tired of the purple-haired guy telling me that he's witness all of these deaths.
Oh, my God.
I'm like, how many times
his name was Pariah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I was so tired
every time he showed up on panel, he's crying. And he's like, I've witnessed 1,000 universes die. Oh, my gosh. Every single time. Like, this is like... in this comic book 50 times with him explaining that he's seen 1,000 universes die.
You're like, we get it.
I'm like, God, I was so tired of his character. Like, so tired of it. And they didn't explain him into after the midpoint. Like, he got explained even further
But they kind of explained. The monitor was like, yes, I know you were cursed. I am partly the reason why. I'm like, really?
Yeah, so apparently he's the reason why, well, reason in quotations why the Anti-Monitor woke up. Because Monitor and Anti-Monitor were asleep for 9 billion years. And he's another person that did an experiment that's look into the origin of the universe for whatever reason. And the Anti-Monitor used that point to take over and destroy his universe, which made it unbalanced because now there was more for the Anti-Monitor and less for the Monitor. So it made him a bit stronger, which is why he went on his rampage.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yes, but yeah, the dialogue to me was very odd.
Yeah.
It was very strange.
Yeah, dialogue just, no. And then stuff like, the last son, they didn't do this for Superman, but this is the only example that I could, like, put together in my head. But Superman would go, the last son of Krypton.
But that's basically what they were doing. Like,
Yeah.
my power ring can do this.
Yeah.
I like,
Okay. Yeah. Like, they're in the midst of a battle, and it's like this crystal girl, and she's like, I can do spindles out of crystal. I'm like, don't all these people know you?
Right.
Why are you explaining it to them? Like, they already know what you can do.
yeah, I'm going to make an ice slide. Got it.
Cool.
Just show me an
Right.
ice slide.
Yeah. Show, don't tell.
Yeah.
It applies to comics, too. I mean, I know you have to tell some, but not as much as they did.
Yeah.
And stop re-explaining.
Maybe it was just the time period that it was written. It was 1985.
I felt like
I didn't think 85 was that far. Like, I mean,
I felt like I may have read a comic book from 1980 something, and
had
it
to have.
wasn't like this.
yeah.
Isn't it Archie comics from the 80s?
Yes.
That was better than this.
Oh, tons better. I would definitely read Archie over this.
I will read an Archie comic right now.
Oh gosh. No.
Yeah.
Ranking.
Me first?
Sure, you didn't read the whole thing. Your ranking doesn't.
Oh, fine.
But go.
1,
Okay.
just bad.
All right, Derek.
I will give it a 5, and the reason why I'm getting it a 5 is because I guess what they were trying to do, and the reason for this whole story arc is they were trying to eliminate all the different story origins to a lot of their popular heroes.
That's
So it was
exactly
just
what
like
it was.
if to combine it all and to make it just one Earth, and everyone has only one story origin, it would make sense and not confuse their fans. So I see where they were going with it. I just feel like it was a stretch, and it took too long to explain it.
Well, that's
so I give it a 5.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yes.
They needed an excuse to combine all, like, to
Right.
make it a single universe or a single storyline to follow. And they didn't really know how to do it, so they threw this together. That's what, I'm being honest. That's what the writers did. That's why they showed all the, like, we have to show all these characters. Oh, also, we need to note that this is what added Captain Marvel into the DC universe.
The Shazam?
Shazam, yeah.
Okay.
Because he was, I
Yeah.
mean, they already had his rights, but he was technically in a different universe.
Okay.
So this is what put him in the main universe with DC.
Okay.
A couple of other people too. So like a lot of the DC that we knew and grew up with,
Was not the original.
yeah, it happened because of this. So I mean, it's important.
Well, yeah, I know they used it to reboot the DC universe. But then my problem is that didn't they end up just creating this problem again because they
Yes.
rebooted it again in the mid 2000s.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
Superboy Prime, he was in this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
a thing too. Yeah,
Your ranking?
2.
Ooh. You talking
What,
about me?
what was that ranking?
2 out of 10. I would not read this again.
I was like thinking like if y'all was gonna make me read a comic
Yeah.
Y'all could have chose a better one.
Hey, I didn't know. I thought
telling
it
you,
was
I
going to
think
be good. I thought it was going to be
I
good.
I think Infinite Crisis would have been a lot better. But I mean,
We'll
I guess
probably get to Infinite Crisis later
Crisis
on.
on Infinite Earth, since it's the first part.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense to read it first instead of in the middle.
That's what we should do. We should read all of DC's universe merging comic storylines since they do it every 2 years.
Well, I would get it correct this time, and the next one would be Infinite Crisis.
Yeah. So there was a lot of important things that came out of this, but it wasn't a good read. To be honest, look, TLDR,
Agreed.
if you haven't read this comic book, TLDR, it is definitely too long, don't read.
Yes.
This is the definition of TLDR.
Yes. Definitely.
So, but yeah, I guess that's about it out of Infinite Crisis. I have so much more I can complain about, but I don't think there's a point.
Did you borrow this?
Did I borrow it? No, I have it. I own this now.
What do I tell you?
It wasn't bad. Whatever. It was like $10. I don't care.
$10 too much.
I mean, new comics with this many pages
You know
would be
how
way
the net
more.
feel.
Just why are we not going to the library for these things?
I don't know. I don't have my library card.
You can get one in like 30 seconds.
He's like, I lost my library card. My dog ate it.
Yeah. Okay, I will start going to the library. I promise. Next time we do a comic book
not.
thing.
He's not.
He's
I
not.
borrowed this from the library. I'm mad this is in my library history now.
Why? It's a DC comic. It's not like you don't.
I'm really interested on what the suggested reading is going to be for you now.
Right.
Other
now-
DC comics. It's not like it's going to.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just going to be other DC comics. Come on.
Like, oh, you read a comic book, did you? All right.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. I've read some old Batman comics, and they were very good.
I feel like yes.
Yeah.
It was just whoever these writers are. I don't know who wrote this.
Yeah,
It was just not good to me.
I'll pass on it. So that's the end of the podcast. I hope you guys enjoy. As always, reach out to us on Facebook, facebook.com/3D Rivals. Also, we're on Twitter. That's at 3_rivals on Twitter. And you can email us at 3drivals@gmail.com. Don't forget, hashtag Bond History Month is coming up in a half a year. Or more than a half a year. It's coming up. Don't forget about it. Hashtag Bond History.
Hashtag Bond History Month. Dun, dun, dun.
Okay.
All right, I don't want to
Both
get
you
sued.
guys.
But anyway, thanks for listening, guys, and peace out.
Peace out.